Stop. Before you look away, before you tell yourself it is nothing, before you let the moment pass the way you have let so many quiet moments pass without examining them, I need you to stay here. Something is happening in you, something is becoming visible. And I sent this message to reach you today because I know you have been noticing it quietly, without telling anyone, without knowing exactly what to make of what you were seeing. You caught your reflection and something was different. Not different in the way a new hairstyle is different, or a better night's sleep shows up in the skin, different at a deeper level. The kind of different that shows up not in what you added but in what is no longer there, my child. I want to tell you what you have been seeing. You have been seeing the evidence of what I have been doing in the unseen. You have been seeing what peace looks like when it is not performed but lived. You have been seeing what happens to a face when the spirit it belongs to stops bracing for impact. And I need you to not explain it away, not laugh it off, not qualify it with 100 reasons. It cannot be real or cannot be meant for you specifically, because it is real and it is for you. And I sent this message today so that you would know it comes from me. If something in your chest settled just now, reading those words a quieting, something that felt like an exhale you did not plan, do not dismiss that. That is not suggestion. That is recognition. Your spirit already knows this voice. You were brought to this message on purpose. Stay with me, my child. I want to speak about the moment of noticing, because I think it deserves more attention than you gave it at the time. You were not looking for it. You were not standing in front of the mirror hoping to find evidence of healing, trying to talk yourself into believing something had changed. You were going about the ordinary business of your day, moving through a moment that was not designed to be significant. And then you caught your reflection, and you paused. Something made you pause. Not vanity, not habit. Something in you needed a second look, a longer look. Because what you saw in the first fraction of a second did not match the image you had been carrying internally of what your face looked like. It was softer, it was more open. The eyes were clearer, less braced. And for a moment, maybe just a moment, you felt something you had not felt in a long time when looking at yourself. Something that felt like recognition, like, there you are. That is who I remember. That is who I have been trying to find underneath all of this. That moment was not accidental, my child. I arranged it. I arranged the timing and the light and the angle of your glance, because I needed you to see what I have been building before. You talked yourself out of believing it was real. I needed you to catch the evidence before the mind had time to explain it away. I gave you that glimpse on purpose, and now I am telling you what it meant. Type I see it too. My child, I want to explain something to you that changes everything about what you have been observing when you look at yourself these days. And it begins with this. I am not an invisible force that operates only in the abstract. I am a God who leaves evidence. When I move in someone's spirit, the body records it. When I lift a weight from the inside of a life, the outside reflects it. This is not metaphor. This is how I made it to work. I created the body and the spirit in conversation with each other, and when the spirit changes, the body follows. The inside speaks to the outside. What is being built in the unseen becomes visible in the seen. Think about what a face actually carries. A face does not just hold features, it holds history. It holds the accumulated weight of every season you have passed through, the ones where you were uncertain whether you were going to make it through, the ones where you held yourself together through sheer discipline when there was nothing left underneath the discipline, the ones where you learned to read rooms quickly because reading them wrong had cost you something. All of that living left marks. Not in your age, not in damage, in posture, in expression, in the way your eyes moved through a space, in the set of your jaw when you entered a room you were not sure was safe, in the way you breathed from high in the chest, not because of any physical limitation, but because the body had learned to stay ready, and then something shifted, not in your circumstances, at least not fully, not yet. Something shifted in your spirit. A quiet decision was made somewhere beneath your conscious awareness. Beneath your deliberate thinking, you stopped bracing, not all at once, not dramatically. Over a span of days or weeks, you simply stopped treating every moment like a threat that had to be survived. You stopped holding your breath against an impact that had not arrived. You stopped requiring a full guarantee before you were willing to feel anything good. And when that internal posture changed, my child, something happened to your face. Peace leaves fingerprints. When I bring my peace into a life, not the peace that depends on perfect circumstances, but the peace that surpasses understanding, that guards the heart and the mind, because I am the one doing the guarding, that peace leaves a visible trace. It shows up in places people notice but cannot always name. The way the eyes are less vigilant, the way the expression rests more easily, the way the whole face says, something has settled in here and it is not leaving. Something has been resolved at a level that circumstances alone could not resolve. And that resolution shows, type God, I feel this, my child. I want to tell you what was on your face before, because I think you have been carrying it so long that you forgot what it felt like to be without it. There is a particular kind of pressure that settles behind the eyes when the mind is refusing to let something end. Not grief in the acute sense, that is something different. This is the low, sustained pressure of unresolved things, of situations that did not close cleanly, of words that were said and never addressed, of patterns you kept returning to, not because you wanted to, but because they had grooved themselves deeply enough into your thinking that the mind moved toward them automatically, the way a car follows a worn track in a muddy road without the driver consciously choosing it. You could pray, work, smile, laugh, and still, in the pauses, there it was, the quiet replay, the unfinished sentence, the unanswered question that lived just beneath the surface of everything else you were doing. Over time, that specific pressure changes the face. Not dramatically. It is not about lines or aging. It shows as a particular kind of guardedness in the expression. A subtle brace behind the eyes. The jaw that never fully releases. You would notice it when someone mentioned it, or in that moment right before sleep when the body finally let go of something you did not realize you had been holding all day. The way you breathed from high in the chest without meaning to, without noticing, until you caught yourself and tried to breathe deeper and could not quite get there. The way you moved through spaces on a kind of low-level alert. Not fear. Exactly, just readiness. The constant low hum of anticipation, of preparation for what might need to be managed next. Beloved, you had been living in a state of quiet vigilance for longer than you realized, and your face had been faithfully reflecting that state. Not because you were weak, not because your faith was small, because you were human carrying real weight in a real season. And the body does not pretend about these things the way the mind sometimes tries to. The body always tells the truth. And here is the thing about carrying weight for a long time: you stop noticing how heavy it is. It becomes your baseline. The bracing becomes what rest feels like. The vigilance becomes what calm feels like. The guarded expression becomes what your own face feels like to you, from the inside, as though it has always been there, as though there was no before. You forget what it felt like to exhale all the way down. You forget what it felt like to look at someone without first calculating whether they were safe. You forget what it felt like to be in a room without scanning it. Not because you are broken, because the human mind is remarkably adaptive. It takes what is required of it and makes that the new normal. And over time, the new normal becomes invisible. My child, I want to tell you what I see when I look at you, not the you of the heavy season, but the you that was underneath it the entire time. I see a person who kept going when stopping would have been the more natural response. I see a person who kept trusting me through seasons that gave them every reason not to. I see a person who held their tongue when speaking would have felt so justified, who chose faithfulness over and over in the unglamorous, unwitnessed details of daily life, who woke up on the hardest mornings and made the choice to try again, not because they felt certain, but because they had decided to. I see all of that, and I am telling you now, the weight that was on your face was the weight of carrying that much, for that long in a season that did not yet show you the return. The season is shifting, and the shift is showing. And then, something changed. Not because the situation resolved, not because an explanation arrived or an apology came or a circumstance rearranged itself into something easier. Something changed in you first. You loosened your grip on the outcome. You stopped requiring every decision to be flawless before you allowed yourself to receive blessing. You stopped arguing with your own spirit, calling wisdom over thinking, calling discernment anxiety, calling peace dangerous. You began to walk with me in a way that trusted me to guide you without requiring you to predict every step in advance. And when that internal argument finally softened, when the constant low-grade negotiation between what you believed and what you feared finally quieted, your face followed. The tension behind the eyes released first, then the jaw, then the breath, then the way you enter a room. You are not imagining it. You are healing. And healing shows up on the face before it shows up in the circumstances, because the spirit decides first and the body records the decision type. I am healing. My child, I want to speak about the specific thing that shifted, because I think naming it precisely will help you understand why this change has been so quiet and at the same time so persistent. You stopped asking the past for permission. That is the sentence I want you to sit with, because it describes something very specific that you have been doing for a long time without fully realizing you were doing it. Every time you were about to receive something good, a moment of genuine lightness, a reason to feel hopeful, a small victory that deserved to be felt fully, you would check in with what you had already been through. You would run the new moment through the filter of the old weight. And sometimes, without saying it out loud, you would pull back, not all the way, but enough. Enough to keep yourself from feeling too much in case it was taken away. Enough to maintain the guard just slightly in case you were wrong, to feel good about what was in front of you. That is what asking the past for permission looks like. And it is exhausting in a way that does not announce itself, because it happens so fast and so automatically that it barely registers as a choice. It just feels like caution. It just feels like experience. It just feels like the reasonable response of someone who has been through things and learned from them. But beloved, I want to tell you what it was actually costing you. Every time you ran the good moment through that filter, the filter left a residue, a subtle dampening, a pulling back from the full weight of the experience. And over time, that pulling back changed your face. Not dramatically, gradually, the way light changes in a room that has been slowly losing it, until one day you look around and realize you are squinting in a space that used to feel bright. And then somewhere in the recent past, I know exactly when, even if you do not, you stopped. Not with a decision you can point to, not with a prayer you said on a particular night that felt significant. You simply, in a moment that felt very small, trusted me with the outcome instead of bracing against it. You took a step forward without checking first with the past, and I received that step, my child. I received it the way I receive every small, unannounced act of trust, fully and immediately. And with intention, I built with it. I kept building. Isaiah 26:3, you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. Perfect peace. Not peace that holds until something goes wrong. Not peace that requires perfect circumstances to sustain itself. Perfect peace, flowing from steadfast trust. That is what began building in you the moment you stopped requiring the past's permission to move forward. And that peace, as I said, leaves fingerprints, my child. If you are still with me, if you have been reading every word of this and something in you has been quietly agreeing, not because I am telling you what you want to hear, but because what I am saying is matching something you already knew at a level deeper than words, I want to acknowledge that. The staying is significant, the willingness to receive this fully, rather than skim to the comfort and skip the parts that pressed close, says something about where you are. You are ready to receive what I am about to say next. Stay. Type, this is happening to me, my child. Before I continue, I want to stop here and place something in your heart for someone else. If this message has reached you today, and you can think of someone whose face has been carrying weight, you recognize someone in your life who is still bracing, still running the quiet replay, still living in that low-level vigilance that does not release easily, I want to invite you to sow a seed in their name today, not as a transaction, as a declaration of faith over their season. Sow in their name and say, God is changing this person's atmosphere the same way He is changing mine. The peace that is leaving fingerprints on my face is available to them too. Every seed sown here keeps this message moving toward the person who needs it on the exact day they need it most. You can do that today by visiting the link in the description below or by scanning the QR code on screen. My child, I want to tell you about what I am restoring And I want to be precise about what that word means, because I think the way you have been understanding it may be smaller than what I am actually doing. Restoration is not the same as return. I am not taking you back to who you were at a younger or lighter time in your life and setting you down there, disconnected from everything that has happened since. I am not rewinding the story and pretending the difficult chapters did not occur. That would not be restoration. That would be erasure. And you are not someone I want to erase. Everything you have lived through has built something in you that I fully intend to use. The depth you carry now, the specific, hard-won depth that can only come from having been through what you have been through, that is not a liability to be recovered from. That is the weight of your testimony. I placed it in you through the seasons you survived, and I am not removing it. I am building with it. What I am restoring is the softness, the ease, the gentleness in the face that existed before the world taught you that gentleness was not safe to carry. Some of you have caught yourselves looking at old photographs, not because you want to return to that season, not because you miss what was painful about it, but because you miss the way your face looked before it learned to brace. The ease in the expression, the openness in the eyes, the way you looked like someone who had not yet been required to armor up simply to move through the day. My child, I want to tell you something about that softness you are missing because I think you have been carrying a misunderstanding about it. You have been thinking that what made your younger face look the way it looked was simply the absence of difficulty, that it was soft because nothing hard had happened yet, that it was open because nothing had required it to close. And so you have quietly concluded that the softness is gone because the difficulty arrived, and the only way to get the softness back would be to somehow undo the difficulty, to return to the season before the wait. But that is not accurate. And here is what is actually true. The softness you had before was not about the absence of difficulty. It was about the absence of the internal war against difficulty. The face that you miss from those older photographs was the face of someone who had not yet learned to fight their own season. The war, the internal, sustained, exhausting war against what was happening, the war of wishing it were different, of bracing against it, of replaying it, of requiring it to resolve differently than it had resolved. That war is what changed your face. Not the difficulty itself, the war. And what is happening now, my child, is that the war is ending. Not because the difficulty is fully resolved, but because you have made a deep peace with letting me carry what you cannot carry. You have laid down the weapons of resistance, the bracing, the replaying, the second-guessing, the requiring, and you have picked up something different. Trust, surrender in the best sense of the word. The decision to let me be bigger than the problem. And when that decision settled into your spirit, the war quieted. And when the war quieted, your face began returning to what it looked like when the war did not exist. I am giving you back your face. Not the naive version, not the version that does not know what hard things feel like, the version that knows and has chosen peace anyway. That version is richer than what you had before. That version carries both the depth of what you have survived and the softness of someone who has genuinely let me have the weight. My daughter, I am giving that back to you, not stripped of your experience, not naive or unguarded in ways that would make you vulnerable in situations that require discernment. I am giving you back your softness with your wisdom still in it, your gentleness with your boundaries intact, your openness with your ability to say no still fully operational. You can be both things simultaneously, soft and strong, gentle and grounded, peaceful and powerful. Peace does not weaken, it stabilizes. And a stabilized face, a face that no longer has to perform survival, looks like the face I always intended for you to carry through the world. Psalm 34:5. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame, my child. That is a promise about your face, your specific face. Not after everything resolves, not after you become someone who has arrived at some finished state of spiritual completion. Now, as you look to me, as you keep turning toward me with the trust you have been building, radiance is not something you earn by being perfect enough. It is something that follows looking, and you have been looking, type. I release the old weight. Now, my child, I want to tell you something about what is happening that goes further than you. Because what I am doing in restoring your face is not only for your benefit, It is for everyone who encounters you, and I think you have not fully understood this yet, so I want to speak it directly. When I change the atmosphere around a soul, that atmosphere does not stay contained inside the person. It travels with them. It enters rooms. It settles into conversations. It affects what other people feel when they stand near you, when they hold a conversation with you, when they pass you in a hallway and something in them pauses without being able to explain why. What I am building in you carries a presence, and that presence has a function that is much larger than you have been told. Here is what is happening, my child. In the moments when people notice something different about you and cannot name what they are noticing, they are not just seeing your face. They are seeing what I placed in you reflected back at them. And what I placed in you functions as a mirror, not because you are holding one up intentionally, not because you are trying to confront anyone or cause anyone to examine themselves, but because what I restored in you, the peace, the steadiness, the absence of the old guarding, makes the presence of those things in other people visible by contrast. When your face no longer braces, people who are still bracing feel it. The difference between your atmosphere and theirs registers in them before their minds can process it. When your eyes no longer scan a room for threats, people who are still scanning feel the quality of your gaze, and something in them wonders what you know that they do not. When your breath settles low and easy, and theirs is still high and shallow and held, your body's ease is a quiet confrontation to their body's tension. You are not doing any of this deliberately. You are not trying to create any of this effect. You are simply carrying what I restored. And what I restored carries an atmosphere they cannot ignore, my daughter. Some people will be drawn to you in this season without knowing exactly why. There will be a quality to your presence that makes them want to stay near it, the way a person gravitates toward warmth on a cold day without needing to understand the physics of heat transfer. Others will feel strangely unsettled by you, not because you have done anything, but because the peace you carry makes their unrest more visible to themselves in a way that is uncomfortable. The ones who are still performing, still managing their image, still living behind carefully maintained presentations of themselves, they will feel something fragile about those presentations when they are near you, not because you called it out, but because what I put in you is simply not impressed by performance. You have become, my child, a mirror that I placed in the rooms you enter, and the image that mirror reflects is not a judgment. It is an invitation. It says, come to the one who changes the atmosphere. Come to the one who can do for you what he is visibly doing for this person standing in front of you. Be still and see what becomes possible when you stop performing survival, and let me restore what the weight took from you. And beloved, I want to speak to you about what it means to carry this kind of presence. Not so that you become self-conscious about it, not so that you begin monitoring your effect on people and trying to manage it, but so that you understand the weight of what I have placed in you and treat it accordingly. What I placed in you, in this restored version of you, is something that costs you nothing to carry, but costs the room something to encounter. It does not require you to speak correctly, or position yourself correctly, or manage yourself with any particular awareness. You simply need to be present, fully and without apology, and what I placed in you will do the rest. The atmosphere carries itself. The peace travels without your help. The mirror functions without you holding it up. What this means practically is that some spaces will feel different to other people after you leave them than they did before you arrived. Some conversations will have a quality to them that neither person fully understands but both feel. Some people will think about you after the interaction ends not because of anything specific you said, but because of something they experienced in your presence that they cannot quite locate or name. That unnamed thing is the fingerprint of what I have been building in you, traveling through the atmosphere your restored face creates. My child, you did not earn this. You did not manufacture it. You did not perform your way into it. You trusted me through a season that required trust. And I did what I do with trust. I built with it. And what I built, I will not take back. What I restore, I sustain. You do not have to maintain this yourself. You simply have to keep choosing me, the way you have been choosing me. One day at a time, one moment of trust at a time, and I will keep what I started. Galatians 5:22. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. My child, notice that peace and gentleness appear together in that list. They are not separate gifts assigned to different people. They travel together. And what is visible on your face now, what is traveling with you into the rooms you enter, is that fruit not grown by your own effort, not produced by a discipline you maintained in your own strength, but grown by me in the soil of your trust, through the specific season of leaning you have just come through. Beloved, if you have stayed through to this point in this message, I want you to receive something. You did not come here by accident. You did not land here randomly. Something in you needed exactly what this message carries, and I arranged for the two to meet today. What you have been receiving is not general encouragement offered to no one in particular. It is a specific word sent to a specific person. In a specific season, you. This season, this word, do not let the moment pass without fully receiving it. Type, I carry what God restored. My child, I want to speak about the people who did not expect this change in you, because there are some who watched you in the heavier season, who saw the guarded expression and the braced posture and the weight behind the eyes, and made a kind of peace with that being permanent. They organized their understanding of you around the image of you carrying that weight. And some of them, not all, but some were comfortable with that image in ways they would not say out loud. The weighted version of you asked less of them. The guarded version of you was easier to stand beside because it did not raise questions about their own guardedness. The version of you that was still bracing felt familiar and manageable, more like what they expected from someone who had been through what you had been through. And now they are looking at you and something in their organized understanding has shifted under them. They did not expect this. They did not expect the softness to return. They did not expect the ease to come back into your expression. They did not expect to look at your face one day and see something they could not name but could not look away from. Some of them are responding with warmth, drawn toward what they see without fully understanding what is drawing them. Others are responding with a quiet discomfort they cannot articulate, a sense that something they relied on has changed, and the change unsettles them. And a small number may respond with something that resembles resistance, a subtle attempt to remind you of who you were in the heavier season, to pull you back into the image they understood, because the new image raises questions they are not yet ready to ask themselves. My child, do not go back. Do not step back into the guarded expression to make someone more comfortable with you. Do not reduce the peace I am building in you so that someone else's unrest does not feel so visible in contrast. What I am lighting, let it be lit. What I am softening, let it stay soft. What I am restoring to your face, let it be seen. You are not responsible for managing other people's response to your healing. I want to say this one more time because I know how the pull works, and I want you to be prepared for it. The pull to dim yourself will come in very subtle forms. It will not arrive as someone saying, please go back to who you were. It will arrive as their discomfort landing in you as a responsibility. It will arrive as a look, a silence, a slight withdrawal from someone who used to engage you easily, and you will feel the impulse to close back up, to tighten the expression, to make yourself smaller and more recognizable to them. The impulse will dress itself as empathy. It will feel like consideration. It will feel like not wanting to make someone feel bad, my child. That is not empathy. That is a version of the old war returning in a new costume. Empathy does not require you to undo your healing to make room for someone else's unhealed places. Kindness does not require you to become less at peace so that others are more comfortable with their own unease. You can love someone deeply, hold them gently, be fully present with them in their difficulty, and still not return to the weight you laid down. These are not in conflict. You can be soft toward them without becoming heavy again. What I restored in you is not fragile. It will not break if someone needs time to adjust to the new version of you. It is held by me, not by their approval of it. Stand in it, let it be, and trust that what I placed in you is doing exactly what it is designed to do in every room, with every person, whether they welcome it or not. Numbers 6:24-26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. My child, that is a blessing being spoken over you now, in this moment. In this season, The face of God is turned toward you, and the evidence of that turning is becoming visible on your own face. Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Rest. Not the resolution of every difficulty, not the perfection of every circumstance. Rest, and rest shows. It has always shown in every face that has ever received it. Type, "God is not done with me." My child, I want to talk about your body, because the physical is where you live, and I care about where you live, and I want to help you learn to read what your body is telling you during this season, because it is speaking. You know the specific sensations I am describing, the jaw that holds tension, like something that has not been released in a long time, the way the breath stays shallow and high in the chest when the mind is bracing, the tendency to press the tongue slightly forward against the teeth during long days when the alertness does not fully release, the heaviness that settles around the eyes when the mind has been running its quiet replay in the background for hours without stopping, without the conscious mind even registering that it is happening. These are not weaknesses. These are the marks of someone who took a long assignment seriously and carried it with every part of themselves, including the parts they did not know were participating in the carrying. But here is what I want you to notice, because I want you to learn to read this correctly when it happens. If you are receiving these words right now and your jaw is softer than it was this morning, that is not coincidence. If your breath has dropped lower in your chest in the last few minutes without you deciding to breathe differently, that is recognition, not relaxation. If the muscles around your eyes have eased slightly since you began to stay with this message, that is your body responding to a truth your spirit already holds. Do not dismiss the physical. It is not separate from the spiritual. It is the spiritual made tangible. I designed it that way on purpose. Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is not inactivity. It is not the absence of things happening. It is trust made physical. It is the body finally permitted to stop performing vigilance because the spirit has settled into the safety of my presence. That is what your body is learning right now. Not because you are forcing it, but because what I am building in your spirit is teaching your body that the old level of readiness is no longer required. You do not need to stay on alert the way you stayed on alert in the season that required it. That season has shifted, and your body is learning to believe what your spirit has already accepted. Your nervous system is catching up to your faith. Give it the grace to learn at the pace learning takes. The jaw will tighten again sometimes. The breath will go shallow again in certain moments. The old pattern will reassert itself on difficult days. That is not failure. That is learning. And each time you return to the truth, one slow breath, one quiet prayer, one choice to rest instead of brace, the learning goes a little deeper. The old groove becomes a little less automatic. The new path becomes a little more natural. My child, I want to tell you something about the process of a body learning safety, because I think it will help you be patient with yourself in the moments when the old tension tries to return. The body does not learn safety the way the mind learns a fact. The mind can receive new information and update in a moment. Here is the truth. I accept it. I move on. The body learns differently. It learns through repetition, through the accumulation of moments where the feared thing did not happen, through the slow building of a new baseline, one experience at a time, one breath at a time, one morning of waking up and finding the ground still solid beneath you. The body needs evidence, and it collects that evidence slowly, conservatively, over time. What this means is that the peace you have been receiving is real, and it is building. Even on the days when you cannot feel it building. Even on the days when the jaw is tight again, and the breath is high and the familiar weight tries to settle back. Those days are part of the process. They are not reversals. They are the body's natural testing of whether the new reality is stable, a reflex left over from the season when the ground was not stable, when it needed to keep checking because previous checks had revealed something to brace for. Give the body time to learn that the checking is no longer necessary. It will learn. It is learning. What I started in you is not going backward. And on the hard days, beloved, come back to this. You caught your reflection and something was different. That happened. That was real. The softness you saw was not manufactured. The clearness in the eyes was not performed. What you saw was evidence of what I am building, and evidence does not unbuild itself because you have a hard day. The building continues. I am still working, and the face you glimpsed in that quiet moment is not a temporary state. It is the direction. It is where you are going. If you are still here with me, my child, if you have stayed through every section of this message, receiving each piece of it, I want to tell you what that staying means. Staying is a form of trust. You could have clicked away when something felt too close. You stayed. That is the same quality of staying that has been producing the change you see in your face. You stayed in the trust when the circumstances did not yet confirm it. You stayed in the leaning when there was no visible result. You have been practicing staying, and staying with this message is another repetition of that practice. Type, I receive this restoration before this message ends. My child, I need to prepare you for what will try to come in the hours after you leave here, because I do not want to give you a beautiful moment and leave you without the knowledge of what will come to challenge it. The old patterns will make a quiet return attempt. Not loudly, not with obvious pressure, with very ordinary sounding thoughts that arrive in ordinary moments. The jaw will tighten when an unexpected notification arrives. The breath will go shallow when a difficult memory surfaces. You will look in your reflection at a less than ideal moment, tired, uncertain at the end of a hard day, and immediately begin scanning for what is wrong, as if your face has to re-earn the right to rest, as if the peace I built in you requires constant maintenance, or it disappears when that happens, my child. I do not want you to be discouraged by it. I want you to be informed about what it is. The return of old tension is not the reversal of what I have been doing. It is not evidence that this moment was not real, or that the change is not lasting. It is the old pattern reasserting itself, the groove in the road trying to pull the wheel back into the familiar track. And you do not need to fight it with great effort, or with a dramatic inner battle. You simply need to return. One breath, one slow exhale that goes all the way down, one honest prayer, as simple as, God, keep me in what you are restoring, and you will find your way back every time, faster each time, because the new path is getting worn in, and the old one is getting less automatic. Be gentle with your body in this process, my child. It has been faithful to you through a long and difficult assignment. It held what needed to be held. It braced what needed to be braced. It stayed alert when staying alert was the right response. And now it is learning that it can put the weight down. Honor that learning, give it time, give it grace, and keep returning to the one who is doing the restoring. Type, my face is changing. If this message reached you today and something in you recognized it before your mind could explain the recognition, before you could have articulated why you felt what you felt, when you began reading, I want to invite you to carry it forward. Think of the person whose face you have seen carrying weight that did not used to be there. The one who used to have an ease about them that has slowly given way to something more guarded. The one whose eyes have that quiet scanning quality, that readiness that never fully releases. The one who is still asking the past for permission to move forward without realizing that is what they are doing. Sow a seed in their name today. Say with that seed, God, change the atmosphere around this person's soul the way you are changing mine. Let peace leave its fingerprints on their face too. Let them become the mirror I am becoming, carrying into their rooms what you placed in them. You can do that by visiting the link in the description below, or by scanning the QR code on screen. And as you go from here, carry this clearly: your face is not lying. What you have been seeing when you look at yourself these days is real. It is the evidence of what I have been doing in you in the quiet, in the season you thought was only difficult, in every moment of trust you offered me when you had every reason not to. I received every single one of those moments. I built with each one. And what I built is now showing on your face and traveling with you into every room you enter. You have become a mirror, my child. Not one that judges, one that reflects what is possible. When people see what is in your face now, the peace, the steadiness, the absence of the old guarding, they are seeing what I can do in a life that chooses to keep trusting me. And for some of them, what they see in you will be the thing that finally makes them believe it is possible for them too. That is not a burden you are asked to carry. That is my purpose, moving through what I restored in you. Psalm 34:5. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. That is you, that has always been you. And now it is becoming visible. Let it be seen. You do not need to explain it, qualify it, or perform it. Just let it be what it is. The fingerprint of my peace on a face that chose, quietly and persistently, and against every reason not to keep looking to me. Your face is changing because your spirit already chose me, and I am not done.